Good morning, everybody. I am Bear with BearIndependent.com, which is where all the cool kids hang out. So if you're like, Bear, I need a team for the end of the world, there's forums there at BearIndependent.com, specifically designed to allow crosstalk for y'all out there on the interwebs to meet people, date each other, fall in love, do the hard things together, and survive the zombie apocalypse. Or whatever. Yeah. Good coffee cup. Good coffee. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's down below on that bar thing. This coffee's really good though. All right, yeah. You can click that little bar down there. It'll take you to Teespring. T-shirts, hats, mugs, patches, stickers, whatever. All right, let's get down to brass tacks. Y'all have asked, several of y'all, in the comments on the Prepper Classroom videos, hey Bear, cool story bro, what are some useful prepper skills? Voila, useful prepper skills. So we're gonna have a little bit of a philosophy discussion, and then I'm just gonna rattle some things off. So I am a huge proponent of the militant farmer concept. I don't know if there are other people out there who have been saying that phrase besides myself. I am the first person that I've heard that from, that I'm aware of. Don't know, don't care. Although I did see somebody post like a really well done Instagram meme that was a total ripoff of my 4 quarters philosophy. So, and it wasn't like somebody with 3 followers. It was like somebody with 300,000 followers. So I guess the bareness is getting out there into the ethos. It's in the zeitgeist of humanity now. That's cool. Militant farmer concept. What does this mean? You must be able to produce food, and you must be able to protect the people who are consuming that food. These two are non-negotiable. Excuse me, says me. Non-negotiable. Why? I said we'd have a little bit of philosophy here. Why? Because there are 3 things that I think are the most likely issues in the near-ish future for Americans and therefore the world that could lead to potential chaos. One is political disturbances that lead to civil unrest and or potential tyranny or tyranny actual in the United States. The other is food shortage, which if we don't get a good spring 2020 planting, forget it. You should be buying food now and stacking it to the rafters now. It is still cheap now. I don't know how long that's gonna last. And economic depression, recession, a softening of the market. These 3 things I think are highly probable. Not just possible, but probable. Much more so probable than, Iran launches a dirty bomb at San Diego or whatever, right? Very probable. How probable is a different video for a different time. But those are my 3 kind of pillars of potential SHTF in the near future, which ergo, therefore, the militant farmer concept. So let's talk about this. Kind of in this column are more of the militant type things, and in this column are more of the farmer type things, but there is some overlap. So don't get your panties in a wad if you feel like that should be in that column, and I'm going to leave a nasty comment on the internet because I had a poor upbringing and my mom never hugged me or whatever. Okay. Militant farmer concept. Offensive/defensive security. The ability to actually do the things with your rifle, with your sidearm, right? And that implies readiness and training with said stuff. Not just having the plate carrier and the AR. And did you see, man, I got this cool new bump helmet and it's got the nods on it. Now I can see in the dark and we're gonna rule the battle space. Cool. Can you actually do stuff with it? Or do you just sit around and fondle it on your couch while you're covered in Cheeto dust and smell like Mountain Dew? There's a difference. Go do the things, okay? Go do the things. So, the ability to actually affect offensive and defensive security measures. And what do I mean by offensive? Pressing out into your area of operations and securing an area because somebody has to control this place. I'd rather it be us. Okay, because I don't know what everybody else's best intentions are, but I know what mine are. And so a benevolent dictatorship may be the way to go. And what do I mean by that is, if we're good, I'm good. I'm not trying to take your stuff. You're definitely not trying to take my stuff. I'm just going to control this little plot of land right here, but I'm not fighting a war at my doorstep. So we're going to press out into our area that we're operating in offensively to be able to better provide security for us and ours, okay? Defensive is obvious. If you come here, you better bring all your friends because you will be met with a wall of lead. Defensive security. Firearms and tactics, therefore. As I said, do you have the things? Can you use the things? We have people on our tribe, on our team, that are very good at employing the things, doing the things. Very, very good. We have other people within the tribe and on our teams that are more tacticians, that have more real world experience, that maybe they can't get the shot off as fast, but boy, they're much better at directing the people who are getting the shots off. Okay, so they're not the same thing. Simply possessing the firearms and knowing how to operate said firearms does not make you a tactician. And being a tactician does not mean that you necessarily have the pinnacle proficiency with said weapons. So they are not the same. Firearms and the tactics to move those people who can use the firearms about the battle space. Very useful. And again, understand they're not the same thing. And man, there's so many people who are like, yeah, I was Quad Zeros, Charlie Whiskey 68 Delta Spaceship Door Gunner on a UH-67. And I had a GAU 8 that I used to EDC all the time because depleted uranium, bro. And so anyway, I'll be your head of security. Okay, copy that. My head of security is a cop. And you know what? He's damn good at his job. And he doesn't have to be all the blah, 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 blah to get his job done. In fact, he's the exact opposite. One of the many reasons that I love him. So beware of that, okay? Intel, the ability to gather and develop said intelligence. This matters. And we talk all the time about area study, developing your network. I mean, Sam Culper over at Forward Observer just nails this stuff over and over again. You have to have a presence in your community. You have to have good rapport with the people in your community so that you can pull this intel back and develop it, put it all in one location and examine it and look at it and play with it and understand your operating environment to give some context to this intelligence that you're receiving so that you can deploy that intelligence in such a way that allows you to operate from a position of strength. So useful skills, gathering and developing intel for sure. And then commo, man, just, hey bro, what's up, man? Can I get some resupply? I'm out of jalapeno cheese spread. Yeah, no, not a problem, man, we're coming, right? Got to be able to talk back and forth. And we really take for granted right now our ability to communicate, but from operating in environments that don't have cell service, that it's not coming back. There's no electricity. Maybe it never existed here in the first place. You will learn real quick just how valuable a radio on your war belt or your plate carrier is to be able to key that mic, listen to your radio, find a repeater, and go out from there and get a hold of the guy that you need to talk to. Maybe it's your repeater, maybe it's somebody else's repeater, maybe there's no repeater at all, you're just operating simplex, who knows? But my point is, you have to be able to communicate with your people because otherwise we're running around uncoordinated like chickens with our heads cut off. So this is really important, and not just the basics, because I am not a commo guy. Y'all are asking me all the time, Bear, we need more commo videos. I'm like, I know, but I have 3 commo guys. They all have real lives. They all have other things that they are responsible for, and only 2 of them are geographically anywhere near where I am currently, and I'm working on coordinating it because I'm not gonna stand here and pretend that I'm the commo guy, because I'm not. I can key the mic, go, yeah, listen here, spaceship door gunner guy, we're gonna need some cover fire out of the International Space Shuttle on our current position. Yeah, mark pink smoke, we're 100 meters south of the pink smoke, right? I can do that, but that's it, okay? Medical, why medical? Well, A, it's a very useful prepper skill, and medical is a wide array. This could be everything from, you know, triage and surgery and dealing with, you know, major trauma, lacerations, severed arteries, blowouts, and just mangled human bodies, putting people back together again, to very precise surgery, to midwives, the words, they're tremendous. Believe me, tremendous. Have you seen Melania? She's beautiful. Okay, so there's a wide spectrum here with medical. How did that get into the militant side of things? Well, A, most people forget that bullets go both ways. It's not a one-way fight. Bullets go both ways. So if you're pressing triggers, there's a possibility that somebody's pressing triggers back towards you. In fact, a high probability, and there's a probability you get hit. So having these skills amongst all your people, but having specialists in that area as well, highly recommended. And again, your intel, your network out there in the community, building rapport with the people in your community, being able to send a unit out into the community. You send a couple of docs and a couple of security people, all of which are acting as operatives, intelligence operatives, gathering intel and bringing all that back to you. You're engendering goodwill towards you and your people. You're building rapport with your community, and you're also gathering all that intel and bringing it back. So yeah, medical, it matters. And it's not terribly expensive right now to stock medical stuff. So I recommend that you do stock medical stuff and learn how to use it. And this is more of a philosophy than anything, but independent operability. But this is definitely a militant concept. Think about the Minuteman, being able to go at a minute's notice, run out the door, and self-support for a given period of time. Independent operability. This is one of the things that the modern militia movement gets wrong in perpetuity. Their ability to self-support does not exceed 72 hours. And so while they can muster, in some cases, many pairs of boots on the ground, after 3 days, their logistics completely falls apart because the resupply element of said militia does not exist. However, I am seeing this getting better and better and better, hopefully because of these conversations that we're having, that people within these militia movements realize that, A, we can't all be the pointy end of the spear, because if we were all, that's a line, not a spear, it's it doesn't work. The geography of this, geometry, that's the word, geometry of this doesn't work. So there has to be a pointy end of the spear, and there's no shame in being the handle of the spear. Be the support element, because without the support element, the pointy end doesn't go anywhere or do anything. It doesn't pokey holes into things without a handle, okay? So the independent operability of you and your crew is highly important, and it's something that the modern militia movement gets wrong but is getting better at, because after 72 hours, guess what? We're all useless if all we have is 72 hours of kit on us. We should deploy knowing that we have 72 hours of capability on us, and within 12 hours of us deploying, our resupply should be spinning up, because our logistics people are concerned about independent operability, and now they are bringing tote bins, cases, pallets of stuff, boom, to our location. And when we get here, we're gonna set up an HQ tent and an aid station and a commo shack and CP and blah, 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 blah. And we're gonna have racks laid out, and so that we can develop a watch so that we can get a field kitchen up, we can maintain infrastructure, we can stay on top of our sanitation, we can do all of these things that allow us to have independent operability, not just be a bunch of fools in multicam in the woods. Hey man, I'm playing soldier. Cool. But there's much more to playing soldier than that. So independent operability matters. Man, we're 15 minutes deep and I'm on half of a whiteboard. I apologize. All right. Farmer concept. The ability to store food. Hold on. Hydrate. Yes. Disastercoffee.com, I think. Check those guys out. Disaster Coffee. Their coffee is not a disaster. They fuel people who respond to disaster. Yeah, Grindstone Ministries for the win. All right. The ability to store food. Put food in buckets, put food on pallets, put food in barns, freeze it, cure it, stack it. I don't care what you do, stack it to the freaking rafters. I cannot be more adamant about this. Get food now. Get food now. Get food now. Okay. The ability to produce food. Why does this matter? Because the food that you have stored is your cushion between the system failing and you spinning up your agriculture. Your agriculture, the system, okay? They have the inverse effect on one another. The less dependent the system is, the more dependent your agriculture needs to be, and vice versa. Well, as preparedness-minded individuals, as preppers, man, we can see that the system is kind of doing one of these, and it might do this. Well, if it's doing one of these, we need to be doing one of these and spin this thing up to get wildly independent of the system, to maintain independent operability of us, to perpetuate normalcy for us. So you need to be able to produce food, make food grow forth out of the ground. Part of how we do that is animals. I get the question all the time, Bear, what's the best way to store protein for food storage? On the hoof, bro. I mean, that's where we are. We have sheep, we have goats, we have turkeys, we have chickens, we have one lone guinea hen that my wife will not let me shoot. Although I may arrange for it to have a happy accident. I don't know yet. I gotta talk to some people and put a hit out on the guinea. But anyway, we've had ducks, so forth and so on. So we have a lot of meat running around on the homestead, and we will have spring 2020 cattle as well. We are moving in that direction because it's much easier for me to keep my protein on the hoof and take what I need when I need it than it is for me to buy it now and can it. Although, if you can't do that, pressure can. Research pressure canning. You can pressure can protein and you get good shelf life out of it. Burping. Animals. Foraging. Now, a lot of the time I'm like, look, I'm not a fan of foraging. Asterisk caveat. I'm not a fan of foraging when we're bugging out. Why? Because we need to get from here where it's bad to here where it's not so bad ASAP, as quickly as possible. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, we are not going to hunt, fish, trap, scavenge, forage our way to prosperity during the end of the world. We're just not, and especially not while bugging out. Okay? I'm on a mission to get from point A where it's bad to point B where it's not so bad. I don't have the luxury of time to be fishing, scavenging, foraging, hunting, trapping, any of that. However, in situ, if we're bugged in, we are living in a place with our crew, with our team, with our tribe. Foraging in your area is probably not a bad idea. You should do, again, as part of your area study, make a document of all the wild edibles in your area. We have provided documents like this for clients at Prosperity. The last one of which I had to have my admins just ruthlessly cut from 700 pages down to 300 pages in Texas. In Texas, where areas of which are just sand and mesquite bushes. So It can be done, okay? I just got an alert on my phone. Go away, calendar. So you should definitely research the wild edibles in your area and have the ability to forage for them. Another great idea that my wife started implementing was she got an aerial map of our property and then started marking it. This dot is blackberries. This dot is mulberries. This is wild asparagus. Over here are wild onions, yada, yada, yada. Why is that important? A, she can remember what is where, and B, if we have a bunch of people operating on the same piece of land, we can say, here you go, Sally, go over here to X and pick a basket full of wild onions. We need it for dinner. Copy that. So as you're identifying areas of your land that have these wild edibles on them, mark them on a map so that you can distribute that map to your people as needed. Okay? Cooking. Can you cook said food? And I mean, really, not like, well, I got my solar oven and cool, have you used it? I haven't used mine yet. I've used Squid's, my buddy Squid. By the way, if you're not watching Squid Actual, I don't know about you. The YouTube channel Squid Actual. This channel used to be called Squid and Bear. And his logo looks like mine, except it's a squid, not a bear. Squid Actual. That's my buddy Squid. He rocks. We've made good stuff. I say we. I ate the good stuff that he made in his solar oven. I had nothing to do with it other than that part. So can you actually cook? Do you have the fuel to cook? Do you have the spare parts for your propane camp stove and the adapter to take the 20-pound bottle or the 1-pound bottle? Do you have all that? Actually, have you done it? Sanitation. This is really important. Really, really, really important. Recently on the Freedom Declassified podcast, we were talking about, they said, what are your, like, beyond the basic 72-hour kit, what are 3 things that most people get wrong? Easy answer. Food, water, sanitation. Most people don't stock enough food. Most people do not stock enough water nor have the means to treat it. And most people have no plan for sanitation. And dirty water and bad sanitation kill the vast majority of people on planet Earth right now. Right now, in rule of law in 2019. Right now, dirty water and poor sanitation is killing the vast majority of people on the planet. So what happens when the balloon goes up and the system goes away? So what is your plan for sanitation? You need to have people that know how to do this stuff. And then tradesmen or tradeswomen, I guess, is that the word? I don't know. My leg itches, I'm distracted. Trades. Plumbers, electricians, HVAC technicians, framers, concrete guys, loggers, blah, 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 blah. People who work with their hands. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Plumb, square, and level is the same, whether you're laying a coursive block, pouring a foundation, standing up a wind turbine, framing a house, timber framing a lodge, stacking brick, hanging drywall, figuring out the fall for your drain pump, running the conduit for your service entry underneath the weatherhead for your power that's coming in. It's all the same. Plumb, square, and level, it's all the same. So if you can master those concepts, you can take them and then apply them to whatever the situation is that you're facing now. So, you wouldn't think that like framing a house is similar to standing up a high tension power line, but it is, because plumb, square, and level. They're like, you just start to get a feel for working with your hands. So tradesmen, getting into the farmer concept, because man, every farmer I've ever met, and I was fortunate to be raised around a bunch of old school farmers growing up in upstate New York, total jack of all trades, definitely master of none. Their welds were disgusting to look at, but they held, right? They might not, make the most beautiful finished carpentry, but they could frame something up and it would hold, right? And so understanding the value of work and how to do it with your hands, I think, is priceless in a situation like this. Okay, we'll come over here. Now, in all of this, I'm a big fan of what I call keeping the old ways, doing things the way they used to be done, not the way they are done now. And so the old ways, this is just a handful of suggestions, and these are all things that we currently are doing on property or have done on property in the recent past. Okay, not like here's some good ideas that Bear had. These are all things that my family actively does on our land. Not even our tribe, not even our mag, us. These are all things that we do right now, 2019, on grid, preparing for potential SHTF chaos. All right, gardening, produce food. Raising livestock, produce food. Drawing water. Get in the habit of where do we get water from when it won't come out of the tap anymore? Drawing water. What does that look? Well, I'll just throw a bucket into the stream. Can you? Have you done that? How much water do you get out of that bucket? Did you figure out that you might need more than one bucket? It's nice to have a garden cart full of buckets, empty buckets, and then another one to scoop water with and transfer into there. And then what are you filtering with? What is your pre-filter? Are you going to boil it? If you boil it, do you have a big enough pot? And how much fuel do you have to boil that water? How much water do you need per day based upon the number of people who are going to be at your place? Now, multiply that times the amount of fuel that it took to boil that water. It matters. Drawing water. Cleaning. We just talked about sanitation. But more than that, have you done laundry outside in a kettle over a fire? Do you have a clothesline? Right? Do you have a big wooden stick to stir it with? Do you know how to make soap from scratch? Grandma and my wife do this. Grandma's 80 and they do this. Like, they're badasses, okay? Basket making. My wife makes baskets. They're awesome. Planting row crops. We have done this with machines and by hand. Not just planting, but harvesting by hand, row crops. Alternative heating options and lighting options, oil and kerosene lamps. We have oil lamps in every room of our house, hanging on hooks, sticking off of the wall. That if the power goes out, we have at least 2 lamps in every room other than the bathrooms that each have their own 1 lamp. That and in big rooms like the kitchen and the dining room and the living room, there's 3 to 4 in each room. We can flip those things on and have light. Not only that, we have additionals. We have more wicks, we have more oil, we have spare lamps that we can hand those out or give them to other people or whatever, just to be able to see, have a little bit of light at night, and there's some depth to redundancy there. Tanning of hides. What hides? Well, hunting, trapping, and raising of livestock. Now, we don't do a lot of trapping. In fact, I do 0 trapping because I don't eat things that come out of traps. But we have people in our mag that do and are very good at it. Very, very, very good at it. So, okay, moving along. Heating with wood. Yeah, when the balloon goes up, I got a fireplace. I'll be fine. Have you done it? Not just get the wood off the back of the truck that the guy dumped in the driveway for you. You hand him a couple of bills and maybe move it into the backyard and pull off the pile of wood. Cut wood, stack wood. You know, firewood heats you twice, once when you cut it and once when you burn it. But the people who made up that have never delivered firewood, because if you sell firewood, it heats you 3 or 4 times, believe me. So heating with wood and just the basics of that. Do you have a chimney brush? Do you know how to clean your chimney? Do you have a little shovel to get the ash out and a metal ash bucket and all of those things? Okay. Blacksmithing, making knives and tools, fixing knives and tools. That's an obvious one, but it needs to be addressed. Leather working, same thing. Man, you know, we have stuff that needs to be maintained or created to meet the need. Sewing. And you think, well, sewing, I don't know, whatever, that's for chicks. Hold on. Sewing is not just for girls. Yeah. Look, beautiful. Multicam. Right? So sewing. Because you're going to have equipment that needs to be maintained. You're going to have clothing that needs to be maintained, altered, or produced. So the ability to sew. Butchering. Man. Absolutely. Do you know how to take one of these and turn an animal into meat? Do it. I mean, actually do it. These are all things that we do on property. Timber framing. Yes, I am building things with pine trees and a chainsaw, and it's awesome. There's been ongoing progress reports on that on Patreon. It's awesome. Hunting and fishing. Can you? Now, I'll tell you, frankly, I had been taking for granted the skill sets required to go hunting, because it's been a long time since I've gone hunting, and here recently I've been hunting. It's a perishable skill. Now, it is like riding a bicycle, but just like firearms training, the basics and being able to flawlessly employ those basics on a moment's notice when needed are two different things. And so, when was the last time you went hunting? Go hunting. Go fishing, right? Brewing. Yes, home brew. We have made wine, vinegar, ethanol truck fuel, and we have a brother in the tribe, several brothers in the tribe actually, that make mead. And several sisters in the tribe that make wine. And several others that are fans of truck fuel. Let's just suffice it to say that when the rest of y'all are going through withdrawals, we're good. So, and then baking. Baking doesn't seem like that big a deal, but to be able to take a handful of wheat berries and turn that into bread from scratch is awesome. And so when I say the old ways, these are the kinds of things that I'm talking about that allow us to pull back from the system and take control of our independent operability from the system. As a community, as a team, in situ, here, in this area right here. But that's kind of my overview, and there are dozens, if not hundreds more. And I'm interested in your productive comments down below, what you think are further useful prepper skills, and boy are there lots of them. But for me, it's all kind of this core concept of the militant farmer concept. You need to be able to do all of these things, and you need to be able to do all of these things. And part of how we do all of this is by keeping the old ways, these here, which allow us to maintain a comfortable distance from the system so that we can be independent of the system, that when the balloon goes up, it doesn't take us by surprise. We're already doing the things. I hope this video was a blessing to y'all. I hope that you would share this with people who need to see it. If you have suggestions for other Prepper Classroom videos, please put them down below. Huge shout out to our patrons. We could not and would not do this without you. You are the economic engine of the Bear Nation, and I deeply appreciate you. This content would not exist if it was not for you, so thank you. If you would like to support the show, click the baby bear. He's up here somewhere, and there's 24 minimum exclusive pieces of content per month at Patreon, in addition to all of the free content we provide here on YouTube. So, with that, thank you very much, and have a blessed day. Shalom, y'all.